In less than 4 months, Filipinos will choose the next leaders of the country. And the stakes are high as the nation awaits directions in navigating through this overwhelming health crisis, among others.
If I make it, is to help our frontliners, especially the nurses, stay in the Philippines, give them a better salary, give them better benefits. We all realize how important they are.
They will pitch their costs.
If we federate, we have to have a strong military, police, justice system. Kapag kawala, it will only divide and fragment our country.
And why they deserve your vote.
When election time comes, the playing field is leveled. Each person gets one vote, whatever status you are in.
Find out their plan of action for change. And as they chart the country's future, their political future is in your hands. Who are qualified? Who are worthy to serve in the 19th Congress? Watch them side by side here on CNN Philippines. I'm Ruth Cabal. Welcome to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum, where we get to know some of our candidates by asking them questions on issues that matter to most Filipinos. 3 more hopefuls are joining us tonight. All of them are first-time senatorial candidates. We will introduce them to you in alphabetical order. This 53-year-old former mayor is running under the Nationalist People's Coalition. He obtained a master's degree in public administration in UP and another master's degree in national security administration at the National Defense College of the Philippines. He implemented the Green Building Ordinance in Quezon City and established the Bistecville Housing Program. Welcome to the studio, former Quezon City Mayor Herbert Bautista. He is running under the banner of the Partido para sa Demokratikong Reforma. This 56-year-old former lawmaker graduated from the De La Salle University, Manila, with a degree in communication arts. He authored the Telecommuting Act and co-authored the Free Irrigation Services Act, among others. Glad you could join us here, former Makati 1st District Representative Monsour del Rosario. This 55-year-old candidate is running under Aksyon Demokratiko. He obtained his Bachelor of Laws from the Manuel L. Quezon University. He served as a city councilor in Quezon City and as an assistant general manager at the National Housing Authority. He is known for co-hosting the program Kapag Nasa Katwiran, Ipaglaban Mo. Welcome, Jopet Sison, who is joining us via Zoom. Our guests here in the studio have tested negative for COVID-19. And gentlemen, I would like to remind you that this is not a debate, and also our voters and our audience watching us. This is about letting voters understand your platforms, principles, and stand on issues. We have compiled questions. Each of you will be given a time limit for each answer. When you hear this sound, that means you only have 10 seconds left and you need to wrap up your answer. To those of you watching online or from home, you can join the conversation by using the hashtag CNNPH Senatorial Forum. And as we mentioned that this is all about letting the voters know, get to know you, kaya right now we will start this forum with a question from Facebook. Facebook user Angelica Sayer says, hindi daw ba kayo pwedeng gumawa ng batas na kapag nakulong o may kaso na, hindi na pwedeng tumakbo? Kapag ordinaryong tao raw, ang hirap mag-apply kapag may police o NBI record. Pero ang mga mambabatas, kahit nakakulong, binoboto pa rin. Almost every election, we've seen disqualification cases filed against candidates who have existing criminal convictions or pending court cases. But according to the COMELEC spokesman, the law does not bar anyone from running for public office, except those convicted for a crime of subversion, insurrection, or rebellion, or a crime involving moral turpitude, or those sentenced with more than 18 months penalty. Now you have 90 seconds to answer this question. What is your stand on letting convicts or those with pending cases seek public office? Alphabetical order. So let's start with Mayor Herbert. Your time starts now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ruth. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat sa mga nakikinig ngayon. Well, sinabi na ni Attorney Jimenez ng COMELEC na hanggat walang final conviction yung tao, pwede siyang kumandidato. No? Except for yung mga talagang because of rebellion or insurrection. No? So I adhere to that. May freedom ng mga taong piliin kung sino yung talagang gusto nila iboto. But that does not prevent that person to run for public office kasi right naman niya yun. So I adhere to that. Okay lang sa akin yun.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mayor Herbert. Si Congressman Monsour, parang yung tanong ng ating netizen is sort of implying that there should be like a higher standard siguro for elective officers. Kayo po, anong stand nyo on letting convicts or those with pending cases seek public office? Congressman, you have 90 seconds.
Well, until proven guilty, presumption of innocence is more important for them to know if these people are guilty with the things that they've been accused of. Pero for me, personally, I think the voters should be more discerning to check the backgrounds of each candidate. If they have some cases that's not yet been resolved, for me, it's better na syempre, if may konting shame ka, ayusin mo muna yan. Diba? If you're shameless, tuloy mo yun. But until proven guilty, the Constitution allows you to run. But maybe we can change that when Sen. Herbert and I are there. Maybe we can change that. Di ba?
So where do you stand? Follow up lang, where do you stand? So do you want to change it? Or?
Well, we have to... I think it shouldn't be the case. It should be the case. I think it's best na until you're cleared of your cases, then you can run. No, but of course, the Constitution says that until you're proven guilty, you're okay to run. So we have to follow the Constitution.
Okay, thank you. Let's now go to Attorney to Jopet. You have 90 seconds to answer this. What is your stand on letting convicts or those with pending cases seek public office? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. We're still a government where there is presumption of innocence. And sabi nga sa due process, kailangan may final decision by the courts. So hanggang wala yung finality of decision, kung pending case lamang siya, he's still qualified to run for public office. Hindi naman pwedeng basta lang may nagsampa ng kaso sa'yo, i-disqualify na natin. Baka naman dumami na ang magsasampa ng kaso para lang hindi ka makatakbo. So there is presumption of innocence. Depende sa ginawa mo. Pwede naman din yan. Ang level ng pagpapatunay, pwedeng guilt beyond reasonable doubt or preponderance of evidence. Depende sa magiging desisyon ng korte. Pero hanggang hindi pa final ang desisyon, ay hindi pa siya considered as convicted. So, qualified pa rin siyang tumakbo bilang isang kandidato.
Okay, thank you, Jopet. Sabi nga nila dito, lawyer na lawyer daw, attorney daw yung inyong sagot. Moving on, 2022 was welcomed not only with surging COVID-19 cases, but also surging oil prices. Motorists, especially public transport drivers and operators, struggled with skyrocketing pump prices. Some transport groups and lawmakers are now calling for a return to government-regulated oil industry. Here's the question. If elected, how do you propose to cushion the impact of rising fuel prices? You have 90 seconds each to answer. We start now with Jopet. Your time starts now.
Hindi natin makokontrol ang dikta ng presyo sa mundo. Ito ay nakaatang sa ating OPEC, oil petroleum exporting countries. Pero oras na yan ay pumasok sa atin. Mari natin ngayon ipataw kung anong regulations na ating binibigay sa pagkontrol ng presyo. Nandiyan ang Department of Energy para po tulungan tayo na para po mabantayan kung yan ay sosobra sa presyo. At sa katunayan nga po, nung panahon ng pandemya, ay nagamit pa natin yung nakagawa ng batas para mag 100% excise tax cut sa ating pong mga langis. Ngayon, sa aming partido, sa Aksyon Demokratiko, Unang-una yan sa naging programa o plataforma ni Isko Moreno, 50% tax cut on oil, 50% tax cut on electricity. Gusto natin na mabawasan man lang ang kita ng gobyerno para ang tao ang makinabang. Yan ang isa sa ating pagpapatuloy at ilalaban yung unang-unang plataforma ni Isko Moreno. Ngayon, kung nagkaroon ng rising oil prices at nakita natin na yan ay hahaba sa mahabang panahon pa at yan naman ay magiging predictable, so kailangan natin gumawa ngayon ng batas para mag 100% tax cut. Makakatipid tayo ng 8 piso hanggang 10 piso kada litro ng ating ng mga gumagamit ng crudo.
Sunod naman kay Mayor Herbert, no, alam mo na nga natin na hindi naman natin kontrolado, no, yung world oil prices. But dito sa bansa, paano nyo kaya matutulungan yung mga kababayan natin na hindi masyado maapektuhan nitong mataas na presyo ng langis?
Sa batas kasi, pagdating mo ng 80 to 85 pesos per liter, nagtitrigger na huminto yun eh. No? Siguro masyado pang mataas yun. Pwede natin ibaba to about 70. Katulad ngayon, 70 na. Dapat nakatrigger na agad. Hinto na. Hanggang dyan na lang tayo. Parang yun yung price control natin. The other information that I gathered is that the national government, DOE, wants Petron back. Gusto niyang i-buyback dito sa private sector na para meron siyang talagang hawak. No? So parang I think I'm also for it. No? Dahil sa doon natin pwede labanan yung mga private like Shell and others. Dahil dito pwede tayo maglagay ng, sige, mababa lang kami. Mababa lang yung presyo namin. It will be very competitive and that's good para sa akin.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Congressman, so how do you propose to minimize the impact of rising oil prices?
Well, for one, we're not an oil-producing country. Number two, Russia and Ukraine are fighting right now. Eventually, maybe NATO and Russia will be fighting. So, short-term solution, government should subsidize oil for jeepney drivers. They've done that before. They should continue doing that until we can recover. Long-term solution, I think government should invest more on biofuel and solar energy. And eventually, we may be able to use solar energy for our offices and for our homes and for buildings. And we should invest in that. So I think that right now, kailangan matulungan talaga ang public transport dahil pag umakyat ang gasolina, ang fare ng mga pasahero aakyat. Pag umakyat yung fare ng mga pasahero, yung mga living expenses aakyat. Kawawa tayo. Kawawa yung mga simpleng Filipino na, taong bayan na Juan de la Cruz. So, dapat mabigyan ng pansin talaga to.
Okay. Thank you, Congressman. We will be taking a short break, but before that, here's a question. Answerable by yes or no. You don't need to explain your answer. Just raise the green signboard if your answer is yes, or the red one if your answer is no. The government estimates around 15 million children aged 5 to 11 have to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The Health Department recently issued an order allowing the state to give consent to a child's vaccination even without a parent's approval. This was challenged by 2 parents who sought a temporary restraining order from a local court. The Health Department later retracted that policy. Here's the question. Should the government make the vaccination of children aged 5 to 11 years old mandatory? Yes or no? Please raise your signboards. So all 3 answered no, na hindi dapat gawing mandatory ang pagbabakuna sa 5 to 11 years old. Thank you. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. We'll get to know more about our senatorial aspirants after this break. Welcome back to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. Tonight we are joined by first-timers in the senatorial race, Mayor Herbert Bautista, Representative Monsour del Rosario, and Jopet Sison. We now go to your next question. Please watch this.
Hi! Ako po si Lady Gagita at ito po ang aking katanungan. Bilang isang miyembro ng entertainment industry na isa po sa mga displaced workers ngayong pandemya na hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin po nakakabangon, meron po ba kayong nakahandang plano para sa amin?
Lady Gagita is one of around 400,000 live events industry workers, a group that includes theater practitioners, musicians, stand-up comedians, and bar staff. They are employed by more than 40,000 businesses greatly affected by the pandemic, according to National Live Events Coalition, PH. These businesses contribute more than 200 billion pesos to our national economy annually. I'm sure you guys can relate because all of you were once part of the entertainment industry or the TV industry. Congressman Monsour, ano po ang pwede niyong isagot dun sa question ni Lady Gagita? You have 90 seconds.
Well, the solution I think that can help the industry right now is instead of the industries, the live shows competing with each other, I think it's best that they should cooperate and not simultaneously hold events on the same day. And then they should observe health protocols. I mean, it's still not over. Pandemic is still there. The virus is still there. And maybe tax breaks. Government should give them tax breaks, you know. They've been out of a job for almost 2 years, and they're trying to regain and get the momentum going again for their industry. And maybe we should have venues, better equipments for people to be able to do their livelihood. So the way I see it, the best there is not to hold. I don't not saying I don't like competition. I mean, I'm an athlete. I like competition, but at the moment, it's not required. It's best that maybe they should cooperate with each other to help each other grow and make the industry come back to life. That's
Parang
the way I see
kumbaga
it.
in a smaller scenario, siguro yung sinasabi nyo, parang shifting no, sa mga
Yes.
empleyado. Parang
Yes.
ganun yung nangyayari
Yes.
sa sinasabi nyo. And we know naman kasi na like alert level 4, level 3 sarado, yung mga entertainment centers, yung mga bars, yung mga comedy bars, ganyan. Buti nag-alert level 2 at kahit papano limited capacity. So we go to Attorney Sison. How do you plan to help the live entertainment industry recover from the crisis? You have 90 seconds.
Yeah, ang gumambala sa atin, hindi lang sa entertainment industry, sa napakaraming negosyo, ang gumambala sa atin ay kalusugan. Kaya kailangan nating bigyan ng pansin kaagad, immediately, yung problema sa kalusugan. Ang programa natin dyan, magtayo ng field hospitals, regional hospitals, make RT-PCR, antigen available para ang kalaban natin, hindi lang yung COVID pati yung takot sa COVID. Kaya hanggang may access ang mga mamamayan sa pag-check sa medicines, mawawala yung takot. So sana mabalik natin kaagad sa normal ang ating pamumuhay, kasama dyan makikinabang ang entertainment industry. Ngayon, we can also capitalize yung natutunan natin nung nakaraang 2 taon. Maraming natutong mag-Zoom-ustahan at mag-webinar. We can enhance that. Isa sa programa ng Aksyon Demokratiko, lay down the fiber optic connecting all the islands to enhance the internet connections for government, for students, as well as those in the industry. At isa sa pinaka-importante, ito'y hindi pa nga ako ginagawa na for our industries, for our for yung mga nagtinegosyo, kailangan ang gobyerno predictable at consistent. Yan ginagawa na para yung mga gustong magnegosyo, madaling makakakuha ng mga permit at may suporta ng gobyerno.
Thank you, Jopet. Kay Mayor Herbert naman, I'm sure marami rin kayong nakakausap ng mga kasamahan nyo dati no, sa industriya. No? So, paano kaya nyo sila matutulungan na makarecover mula dito sa krisis na ito?
Ang short term siguro ngayon, halimbawa, bayaran ng buwis ngayon sa local level. Sa local level. So dapat yan, bigyan sila ng mababang buwis. Or if not, talagang absolutely wala na munang babayaran doon sa kanila, sa mga entertainment industry. No? Yung mga bars, yung mga comedy clubs, yung mga jazz bars, etc. In the short term, well, of course, meron akong nakausap ko si Congressman De Venecia. Sana maaprobahan na rin yung Creative Industries Bill. No? Kasi dito sa Bayanihan 2, meron namang subsidy yung mga performers natin. Pero yung Creative Industry Bill, kapag napirmahan na yan ng Presidente, that will spur so much development sa ating bansa. Not only for the local entertainment industry, pero talaga it will propel the Filipino Hollywood sa ibang bansa. No? So I hope that that bill is approved.
So
already.
sorry, hindi ako masyado familiar dito, but this is in particular for the entertainment
Yes, lahat
workers.
yan.
Ganun po.
Lahat ng arts, no? Media, song, lahat.
Okay.
Lahat ng klase.
Ah, that's good. Okay. Thank you very much to our candidates. Before we move on, let's read some of the comments online. Ito galing sa Facebook kay RD Rogel. Okay. Ayaw niyang, hindi natin siya maklik. Pero ang nakalagay doon sa kanyang, there you go, ang nakalagay doon sa kanyang comment ay dapat daw masolusyonan na ang transport crisis kapag meron ng post-pandemic plan. And then let's go to another comment. This time, ito naman po ay galing sa Instagram. Sabi ni Ed Francisco, 04, ipaglaban daw ang naaayon sa tama at konsyensya at hindi sa mga kakampi. Panawagan niya, huwag baluktutin ang batas. And another comment, ito nakuha rin natin to sa Facebook, galing naman yan kay Rosalie Amido, hindi raw lugar para sa mga laos na artista ang Senado at dapat din daw ay may alam sa batas ang uupo. Yan daw ay para maprotektahan ang kapakanan ng bansa mula sa mga abusado. Naririnig ko na yung may mga comments dito pero mamaya we will give you time to respond to that, okay? So moving on to our yes or no question. The rainbow flag has always been furled in Congress for over 2 decades now. The Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity and Expression or SOGIE Equality Bill, also known as the Anti-Discriminatory Bill, seeks to give equal access to employment, education, and social services to the gay community. But it has failed to pass Congress due to opposition from ultra-conservative lawmakers. They argued it would hamper religious and academic freedoms. Some even say SOGIE is a stepping stone to same-sex marriage. But LGBT groups maintain SOGIE aims to counter gender-based marginalization and violence and promote equality. Here's the question. Are you in favor of passing the SOGIE bill? Raise the green board for yes, the red one for no. So can we have your answers, candidates? Yes? All three are in favor of passing the SOGIE bill. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. I'm Ruth Cabal. We are live on free-to-air TV and on cable, as well as on Facebook at CNN Philippines. Tonight, we are joined by Mayor Herbert Bautista, Representative Monsour del Rosario, and Jopet Sison. They will respond to questions on issues that matter most to Filipinos. Moving on to your next question.
Yung mga kagaya namin mahihirap na nagkakaroon ng sakit na depression gaya ng anak ko, may depression siya, hindi ko alam kung paano gagawin ko kasi wala kaming kakayahan magbayad sa mga doktor.
The son of Lourdes is just one of 6 million Filipinos living with depression and anxiety. In a 2020 study, mental illness has become the third most common disability in the country. The World Health Organization says the Philippines has now the third highest rates of mental disorders in the Western Pacific. The pandemic also took a toll on everyone's mental well-being. We already have a law, the first Mental Health Act, but it allocates only 5% of the healthcare expenditure for mental health services. Your question, if elected, what can you do to make mental health programs accessible to the poor? You have 90 seconds to answer. We start with you, Mayor Herbert.
Well, tama. Dapat itaas natin yung pondo nila. No? Kasi talagang yung mental health, ang source niyan, either mag-drugs yan, no? Pagka yan, tinamaan, magda-drugs yan, or baka biglang magpakamatayan. And normally, any of the two, yun ang nagiging epekto. Taasan natin yung pondo niyan, and then let us make sure that yung mga medical institutions natin, mga hospital, yung mga rural health units sa probinsya, kailangan talaga meron tumututok sa kanila na espesyalista. No? So yun. Pero problema naman sa espesyalista, mababa naman ang sweldo nila. Kailangan itaas natin yung sweldo nila, at least at par dun sa ASEAN counterparts natin. Kung hindi naman dikit, at least malapit naman. Kasi kaya nag-aalisan yung mga medical practitioners natin, yung mga health, mga doktor natin, mga nurses natin. Siguro some of them are psychiatrists. Kasi mas maganda yung offer nila ron eh. Plus, dito, mababa na yung sweldo, wala pang mga facilities na kailangan natin. So I guess, taas ang pondo, taas ang sweldo, tapos dagdagan natin mga facilities.
Thank you, Mayor Herbert. Si Congressman Monsour, your next narinig yun naman po yung sinabi ni Lourdes no, tungkol doon sa kanyang anak. Ang issue kasi, yung mga mahihirap, talagang wala silang access for mental health services. Of course, they would probably, spend their money to other more important or yung mga mas kailangan nila. No? Paano nyo kaya sila matutulungan na mas magkaroon ng madaling access?
Well, this comes hand in hand with one of my platforms, no? It's called the Healthcare Heroes Card. The reason why there's no access is because most of our professional healthcare workers and psychiatrists, psychologists are leaving the country, like Mayor Herbert said. And of course, they're leaving because the salaries are not, sufficient enough for them to stay in the country and take care of their families. So if we can increase their salaries and then maybe not at par at the same like US and Europe, but bridge the gap na kahit papano madikit doon, maybe they would stay here and take care of our people. That is a dilemma in our country right now. Our nurses are leaving, our medtechs, radtechs are leaving, all because we don't appreciate them. And this pandemic opened up our eyes. Now, that boy there, he is correct. He'll be an alcoholic, a drug addict. He'll probably kill himself because of that mental anguish that he's going through. So it's very alarming to have that problem. If we don't take care of that, we will lose a lot of people in our country that are just starting their life. So we have to address that. That's very important.
Okay. Thank you, Congressman. To Attorney Sison, what can you do to make mental health programs accessible to the poor? You have 90 seconds.
Yeah, Ruth, nakakagulat, no? 6 million Filipinos ages 15 to 24 nagkakaroon ng depression. Siguro dahil na rin sa itong panahon ng pandemya. So, sang-ayon ako, kailangan nating dagdagan ng pondo and kasama sa programa natin ay to build more hospitals and healthcare centers. Ang ating target, 107,000 more hospital beds in the first 1,000 days of the governance of our party. Sa ngayon, meron tayong isang doktor for every 2,000 Filipinos. Kailangan nating pondohan pa yan para sa ganyan mapababa natin. Ang target din, isang doktor sa 1,000 Filipinos. Kailangan nating reviewin. Agree ako sa kay Herbert at kay Monsour. Kailangan nating reviewin ang mga batas tungkol sa sweldo ng ating mga espesyalista sa mental health. Kailangan nating reviewin ang mga batas kung ano bang nagkukos nitong depression. Kung ito'y nanggagaling sa trabaho, ano ba ang working environment na meron tayo ngayon? Sa ating mga estudyante, ano ba ang kanilang studying environment? So, para naman magawa natin ng karampatang batas na ma-address yung problemang yon. So, work-home balance, importante. Make health experts available in our hospitals kasama yan sa comprehensive package ng health program.
Thank you to our candidates. Yung nakita kong pare-parehong sagot ninyo is talagang to upgrade not just yung services but also yung hospitals talaga and also yung tulong and yung salaries even of our medical health workers. Let's go to another issue. Aside from the Vatican, the Philippines is the only place in the world where divorce is prohibited. What's allowed are the lengthy, tedious, and for many quite expensive legal separation and annulment procedures. Last year, a bill seeking to legalize divorce hurdled a House panel, but at the Senate, counterpart bills hardly moved. Considering the plight of those trapped in an unfortunate marriage and the concerns of church members who believe it will destroy the sanctity of marriage, as an aspiring senator in a predominantly Catholic nation, what is your stand on the issue of divorce? You have 90 seconds each, pero dahil umiikot tayo, si Attorney Sison ulit ang mauunang sumagot. Your time starts now.
Yeah, I am in favor of divorce, Ruth. 3 dekada na kaming nagbibigay ng libreng payong legal sa aming programa sa Ipaglaban Mo Foundation. Bulk of the questions tungkol po dito. Hindi nga nila alam kung anong kaibahan ba ng annulment, anong kaibahan ng legal separation, declaration of nullity o divorce. Sa Pilipinas, wala tayong divorce. Pero meron tayo nung psychological incapacity, yung Article 36 ng Family Code, na para na ring divorce. May pending bill ngayon na pinagsasama-sama lahat ng grounds na yan at papayagan natin ang divorce. I am inclined to support that. I have seen couples living apart for several years already, but they are still married. So let us resolve those problems for them. Wag natin pahirapan, wag nating masyadong napakamahal para makakuha lang ng declaration of nullity. The success of a marriage will not be so. Hindi yan magiging successful dahil lang pinagbabawal natin ang divorce. Magiging successful yan dahil sa kanilang samahan. Sila yung matatanda na, alam nila kung anong nararapat sa kanila. Kung may mga pagkakataon na hindi na sila talaga kayang magsama. And there are a lot of these circumstances where marriage is no longer feasible. Let us allow this divorce.
Thank you, Attorney. Let's go now to Mayor Herbert. Ano po ang stand nyo dito sa divorce?
Well, ang una para sa akin, importante ang pamilya. Yung sanctity ng pamilya. Yan ang pinaka-basic unit ng ating society. So, kailangan pangalagaan natin yan. Pero meron talaga mga nagsasama na hindi nila kaya talaga yung isa't isa na. Isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit kailangan din natin yung divorce is because kapag ka-annulment lang, o kaya yung, annulment lang, wala talaga nakukuha yung babae. No, parang, sige, dihiwalay na tayo. That's it. Wala talagang sinasabi na, okay, itong X number or percentage na to ay para sa'yo. Itong ganito, hati kayo. I mean, hindi klaro.
Hindi klaro, yeah.
No, so, I guess para protektahan natin yung kababaihan o yung nanay sa loob ng pamilyang yon, that includes yung mga anak. Pag-aralan natin mabuti. No? Without, ang priority is to save the family. Pero kung hindi na talaga kaya, let's favor the women. Yung mga kababaihang maapektuhan. Dahil sa kapag naghiwalay sila at annulment lang, wala silang may uwi. Wala silang may bibigay sa kanilang mga anak. Lalo na, kung anak nila ay bata pa, yung below 18. Talagang yung pag below 18, nasa nanay pa rin talaga lahat yan. Paano niya akuin yun kung wala siyang makukuha doon sa kanilang pagsasama, di ba?
So, linawin ko lang, Mayor, yes to a divorce law.
Pero we have to make sure kung ano nga yung mga parang...
Provisions.
Oo, ano ba yung pabor sa mga kababaihan. At lalo na doon sa mga bata.
Okay, thank you. Si Congressman Monsour, ano po ang take nyo dito sa divorce law?
Well, before I answer that, I believe in the sanctity of marriage. And I will exhaust all means for the family and for the marriage to stay, for the husband and wife to stay together. But I come from a very bad, broken home. And before my mother died, she told me, in case you become a lawmaker, please agree with the divorce law and push that if ever you become a lawmaker. And I saw how my mother suffered. And I see so many people I know that are forced to stay together, that hate each other. And the effects on that on the children. It's very traumatizing. I am in favor of it because why would you force two people to stay together when there's no more trust, love, hope? There's no peace in the family, and you can see the children are very much affected by this. There's no children from broken home that comes out okay, and you're pushing them to stay together. Now, for as long as government when they pass the law of divorce, it's not abuse.
Yeah.
It's taken care of. I mean, it's looked upon really well. The children from the first marriage will be given their inheritance. The women will be, the wives will be. I mean, if they separate, conjugal properties will be given to them, and then they separate peacefully. And I think we'll have better Filipino families or better people in this world.
Siguro dahil abogado si Attorney Jopet, balikan ko lang siya dun sa divorce. Yung bill po ba may ganong provisions and being clear about how to separate yung mga properties or yung pera, ganun po ba?
Yeah, even now we have those provisions, but it would depend on the decision of the court. Iba-iba yon, yung legal separation, yung declaration of nullity, and yung psychological incapacity. But the proposed bill now integrates all of those grounds, and there is that provision on how the properties will be
There
divided.
you go.
Okay, thank you. Para tayo ngayon nasa show ng legal advice. Now, gentlemen, let's watch this for your next question.
Kaya ba nilang tugunan tong pangangailangan namin na sana yung mga PUJ na mga pampasada na sana wag nang ma-phase out, matuloy. Opo. Yun, sana bigyan nila ng pansin yung mga driver na hirap na para lang mabuhay yung pamilya na natatakot baka mawalan ng madalang sasakyan dahil mapipace out na yung mga jeep.
So this is just a yes or no question. Manuel is one of at least 500,000 jeepney drivers who fear they will lose their source of income with the ongoing jeepney modernization. This corresponds to around 2 million affected Filipino families. The program is phasing out old jeepneys in lieu of modern ones, mini bus-like vehicles that cost at least 1.6 million pesos to as much as 3 million pesos each. This move was tagged as anti-poor and sparked nationwide transport strikes. So you can use your signboards to answer with yes or no. The question is, should the government continue with the PUV modernization program? Can I see your signboards, candidates? Okay, so we have 2 no answers. Ayaw na ituloy ang PUV modernization. And then Attorney Sison says yes. You're watching a CNN Philippines presentation. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. Earlier, our candidates answered questions on various issues concerning the nation. Right now, it's their turn to ask questions to each other. Gentlemen, you will be given 2 minutes to answer. When you hear this sound, that means you only have 10 seconds left and you need to wrap up your answer. We will start with Mayor Herbert, alphabetical order. So bubunot ako kung sino yung kung sino yung tatanungin nyo, and then iikot lang tayo with the questions. So, I just have 2 names here. So, ang tatanungin nyo ay si Congressman Monsour.
So, Monsour,
Okay.
Teka, may phone-in question ako.
Go ahead.
Naging congressman ka, and you're an actor, you are an Olympian, and during your time as congressman, you're the only Olympian there. So
Out of 300.
Out of 300 members of Congress. What is the paano ba to? Parang ano ba yung pinakamagandang accomplishment na nagawa mo, na experience mo sa
Okay.
pagiging congressman?
Do I start now?
Yes, 2 minutes to. Mas mahaba
Do
po
I
para you
face
can...
him or
yes,
do I
okay,
face
go
you?
ahead. Yeah, okay na.
Okay. Anyway, my greatest accomplishments from 2016 to 2019, when I was a congressman, I have 3 actually. Okay, I'll try and enumerate them as fast as I can. But the number 1 is I made 292 bills. That surpasses many congressmen who have different positions, who are lawyers, doctors, military leaders, businessmen, whatever. I've done 292 bills and resolutions. I passed a law which is being used now by the Filipino workforce and being used by the Department of Labor. It's called the Telecommuting Act or the Work from Home Law. Many people are surviving this pandemic because of my law, the law that I made. That's one of my proudest. Okay? The other one is I was sent to be a sports leader against 69 countries, and the Philippine record in this competition, from the beginning of this competition up to 2017, was 5 medals. As a sports leader, I came home with 30 medals. Nobody's ever done that. That's the first. The third most proudest I am is I became the first Filipino, first non-Korean, first foreigner in the world to be inducted in the Hall of Fame in the World Taekwondo Federation in Seoul, South Korea. So even if I'm gone, you go to Korea, you go there, and you'll see Manuel Monsour del Rosario III, Man of the Year. First ever in the world.
Wow. Thank you. Parang ang hirap namang tapatan nun, Mayor, nung mga accomplishments ni Congressman. Okay, Congressman Monsour, it's your turn to ask a question to Attorney Sison. Nakangiti si attorney doon sa ating Zoom.
Sana ko titingin.
Go ahead. You can face the camera.
Hindi, kaya nandito sa likod ka eh.
You can face the camera.
Andito ba? I'll ask the same question. Mayor Herbert asked me, Attorney Sison, actually I watched your TV shows when you were still on TV hosting. I never met you in person, but I understand you're a counselor and you're a lawyer, so I guess you know the law really well. But as a counselor, when you were serving Quezon City, what were you most proudest of your time as a counselor? And what have you accomplished as a counselor? And what have you done for Quezon City as a counselor? Parang something like that.
Yeah. For Quezon City, naging barangay kagawad ako ng 3 taon. So I served in the lowest government, hearing the problems of the people directly. As a counselor, 6 na taon akong naging konsehal, umabot sa 270, 270. These are approved ordinances and resolutions. Kasama sa 270 na yon, yung kauna-unahan sa Pilipinas na Quezon City Tricycle Franchising Ordinance. Because of that ordinance, the devolution of franchising was transferred to the local government code na bigyan ng boses ang TODA na maupo sa franchising board. Naging eksperto sa pagbibigay ng RMC, yung route measured capacity na pinag-aaralan natin yung mga rota ng mga tricycles para yung bilang ng tricycle sa isang lugar sapat lang sa paglilingkuran. I was also one of the authors of the Pamantasang Politekniko ng lungsod ng Quezon na hanggang ngayon napapakinabangan pa rin natin. Kasama ko dyan si Tita Wilma Sarino noon na nagpasa ng batas. So yun ang ilan sa aking mga accomplishments bilang konsehal, pero sana madagdagan ko pa dahil nagpatuloy yung aking serbisyo. Naging Assistant General Manager ako ng National Housing Authority. Halos taon-taon, 3,000 pabahay yung aming ginagawa. At naging presidente ako ng National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, where we were able to issue the very first bahay bonds of the country. Itong issuance ng bahay bonds, ito yung mortgage-backed securities na awardan ng AAA sa Asset Asian Awards sa Singapore. Yan lang po.
Nice.
Thank you, Attorney Sison. Tama po, Mayor, so nag-abot kayo ni Attorney when he was counselor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Ako yung pinakabata sa kanila.
Okay.
Siya ang aming Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
And you were the youngest Vice Mayor
Yes,
ng Quezon
elected,
City. No?
yeah.
Let's go to si Mayor naman, ang tatanungin ni Attorney Sison.
Oh, Mayor Herbert, ikaw ay naglingkod bilang isang mayor na nasa executive department. What experiences did you have as mayor and in the executive department that you think you can bring to the legislative branch of government as senator?
Thank you, Jopet, for the question. Maraming salamat. Ang political career ko started in 1985, no? And then in 1988 or 89, na-appoint ako as counselor ng mga kabataan. And then 92 konsehal, and then vice mayor for 12 years. Legislative work yon, no? So talagang humigit 1 dekada yung ating ginawang legislation para sa Quezon City. 9 years lang dun yung executive. Pero yung experience ko sa executive is different from yung naging vice mayor ko, konsehal. Doon ko nakita na yung value, yung balance, no, na kailangan natin na, halimbawa, binigyan ka ng example, meron ditong informal settlements na kailangan mong alisin dahil magtatayo ka ng eskwelahan. So, ano gagawin mo? So, because of that, tinayo natin yung Quezon City Housing Department. No? And nagkaroon tayo ng mga Quezon City Socialized Housing Program. At yung Quezon City Socialized Housing Program na yun, which is coined Bistikville, nakagawa tayo ng about 32 to about 36 home sites within Quezon City. At yung iba ay nasa labas ng Quezon City, nasa Rizal o Bulacan. Siguro kumulang ng mga 10,000 pamilya yung nabigyan natin ng opportunity na magbago yung kanilang buhay dahil meron silang mga bahay na tinitirhan. No? Secondly, disaster management ang aking anchor. Kailangan maging parang, may crisis management aspect lagi. Like for example, yung nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea, kailangan i-prepare natin yung ating sandatahang lakas. Kailangan prepare natin yung ating mga sarili. So yung sinasabi ni Vice Presidential Candidate Inday Sara na maging mandatory yung pagiging reservist natin o yung pagkuha natin ng military service, I think that is very, very wise to do.
Okay. Thank you to our candidates. And here's another question answerable by yes or no. You don't have to explain your stand. You have two signboards. Use the green one if you agree, or the red one if you don't. President Duterte recently said he would not apologize for the deaths of suspected drug users and dealers under his controversial war on drugs. Official government data will show us that there were up to more than 6,000 deaths in anti-drug operations. But as far as human rights groups are concerned, up to 30,000 were killed in the drug war. The International Criminal Court has initiated but temporarily suspended an investigation into suspected human rights abuses in the drug war. The government has consistently denied condoning extrajudicial killings. Here is your question. Do you think abuses were committed in President Duterte's war on drugs? Yes or no? Please raise your signboards. Okay, we have two answers of yes, and Mayor Herbert is saying no, abuses were not committed in the president's drug war. We're not yet done. We still have one more question for you, gentlemen. You have 2 minutes each to answer the most important question. If elected, what would be your legislative priority? We start with Attorney Sison. You have 2 minutes.
My priority would be the priority of the party. We have a 10-point economic agenda. Pinag-aralan po namin ng ito. Ito'y inihayag namin, kaya ito'y pangako na gagawin sa housing, education, labor and employment, health, tourism, digital transformation, infrastructure, agriculture, good governance, and smart governance. Pari niyo pong basahin yan sa ating pong mga web pages. Pero personally, I would like to push for nanggaling po ako sa pabahay ng 11 years, kaya gusto ko pong pagtuunan ng pansin ang problema ng pabahay sa ating bansa. Meron tayong 4.5 billion poorest of the poor. Magtabi na po tayo ng pondo kada taon. Ano ba naman yung 10% ng pondo ng DPWH na imbis na gibain natin yung matinong kalsada para po ayusin ulit, tabi tayo ng 45 billion every year para makapagtayo po tayo ng pabahay. Ang target po natin ay 900,000 to 1 million housing units in the 6 years of the next administration. Ang pinaka-importanting batas na pinapasa taon-taon ay ang budget. Kaya kung gusto nating bantayan ang korupsyon, kung gusto nating bantayan ang bawat sentimo, let us come up with the line item budgeting format. Bawat sentimo na inyong gagastusin dapat nakalagay sa budget. We have to decentralize our budget. Gamitin natin ang teknolohiya in our program for digital transformation. Yung mahilig po ng FB, Twitter, IG, kailangan po nakikita ninyo doon. Makikita natin doon ang bawat sentimo ng inyong budget. The more people watching our funding, the more we can curb corruption in our country.
Okay, thank you, sir. We now go to Mayor Herbert, and I was saying kanina, because mga former artista kayo, you can also respond to yung sinabi ng netizens na hindi daw lugar yung Senado para sa mga artista. And then tell us your priority legislation. It's up to you. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Well, 1985, konsehal ako ng kabataan hanggang sa naging mayor ako in 2019. No? So, that's more than 3 decades of government experience. Tapos, binanggit mo naman kanina, no, na Masters on National Security, Masters on Public Administration. So, ano yung legislation? No? Total, tama-tama, Valentine naman bukas. So, meron akong pang-catch doon sa mga millennial. ILY.
ILY.
Love you, di ba? Pero yung internet, napakahina talaga eh. Umikot ako sa buong bansa, Cagayan, Samar, kawawa. Yung mga online classes, maraming nag-drop ng mga estudyante. Yung mga negosyante, hindi makapag-transact sa ibang bansa dahil mahina ang Wi-Fi. I think we should further deregulate yung Wi-Fi natin o yung providers natin. Na hindi lamang doon sa tatlo. Kung kinakailangan natin Visayas, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, mayroong magpo-provide doon, mas maganda. Good na naaprobahan na yung Public Service Act. Mas makakatulong na sa atin. L, livelihood. Diba? Let's invite foreign investors to come in by providing more incentives sa mga foreigners because of yung trade, no? na amend na rin natin yun, no? Yung Trade Act natin. So, papasukin natin sila. For example, mining. Kausap ko yung mga nasa left, nung nasa peace talks kami. They're for mining, pero dapat dito rin pinoprocess. Hindi yung pagka-inangkat mo na yung raw material, export mo na, pagbalik dito, finished product na, dapat dito rin ginagawa. That would provide opportunity
Jobs
for
pa rin,
jobs.
yeah.
Agriculture. Syempre, yung RCEP, medyo delikado yan. Pero kailangan pangalagaan natin yung mga magsasaka, yung ating mangingisda, at saka yung mga empleyado natin. Kasi hindi pinag-usapan sa RCEP yun eh. Walang protection yun eh. No? Plus, makikita natin, 90% ang tariff na mawawala. Good enough na yung listahan natin na kailangan natin protektahan ay nandun pa rin. Pero unti-unti mawawala yan. So habang nandiyan pa yan, protektahan pa rin natin siya through subsidies. And then yung Y, youth development. Yung binanggit ko kanina, at sa lahat pa ng programa pwede para sa kanila.
Okay, thank you very
ILY.
much. Okay, thank you, Mayor. Si Congressman naman, tell us about your priority legislation in 2 minutes.
Okay, I don't have to answer that person who said artista ka
It's
lang.
up to you.
No. I'll go straight. I don't need to make, hindi ka kailangan patulan yan. Anyway, okay, my platforms really are basically 4 important ones. Of course, I have others that I have that na kumbaga nakasana sa Congress, hindi lang na follow through. But the first 4 ones that I'm going to attend to is I want to propose the Healthcare Heroes Card. The Healthcare Heroes Card will allow all PRC medical licensed practitioners, RadTechs, MedTechs, nurses to avail the same benefits and privileges that PWDs get and senior citizens get. Okay? Then I want to increase their salary and raise the gap towards America and Europe so that our nurses will not leave our country. Instead, take care of our people instead of taking care of foreigners. They're educated here, they leave our country, and they're gone. And we're left here with no one taking care of us. So I want to propose that. Second, I want to do something for specially abled kids. You cannot there's so many kids now with learning disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, and they're born like that with no government intervention. They die like that. And it's so sad because government's not doing anything about it. And the less fortunate don't know what to do with their children. So I want to provide institutions for them, regional institutions for them, and get best doctors for them. I'm consulting with many doctors now about this, and they're willing to help, and they're happy. And third, of course, the athletes. Hindi ko pwedeng pabayaan mga atleta. I was once upon a time taekwondo fighter from 1982 to 89. Everybody knows my track record as an Olympian, World, Asian, Southeast Asian champion. And I want to make sure that children nationwide get the right program for sports. And I'm talking about maybe 5 to 7 sports that could propel them to become Olympic and world champions. And also take care of athletes na after they retire, may konting pension sila. And lastly, people don't know this. They think I'm a city boy. Pero sa totoo, probinsyano ako. I grew up in Bacolod. Kagdamo gid ko to yan nakita nga mga Ilonggo nga nabudlayan sa farms. So buligan ko gid ng mga farmers.
Okay.
Ang gapamati sa akon hindi ka mo malipat. Aton ini buligan tagid kabuda tanan sa Negros.
Okay, I'm sure maraming kayong kababayan ng mga
Ay,
ng
sus
mga
ka,
Ilonggo.
naluoy ko
Kasama
sa
na ako
ila.
dyan. Thank you very much, Congressman, and thank you very much to our candidates. This has been a CNN Philippines special presentation. I'm Ruth Cabal. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with another set of senatorial candidates.